power that T1 have. Camille, one of the few top lane bruisers that can actually deal with tanks due to the true damage and precision protocol. And the 1-for-1 of T1 is disgusting, frankly. There is so much setup available. There is Paranoia, there is Shove on bot side, there is Rise in the mid lane, and there is a Camille, and if any of those members get fed, playing around them becomes so incredibly easy, but...
And here we go, on to the Rift for game number 1. I didn't even realize how perfect that song is, by the way, the lyrics. I win every time.
Every time.
It certainly tells a story, as a lot of our production has been doing so very well so far for this series.
They did win every time, yeah. They're undefeated as of right now. So I wonder whether that's going to continue. As mentioned previously, we can go a little bit more into the choices that have been made. Most notably FAKER. We have seen a ton of the Unsealed Spellbook Rise being picked up, has gone back to the Phase Rush instead, which I kind of like in terms of possibilities of aggression, especially together with Ona. Do you think the T1 composition generally wants to wait a little bit until that Paranoia becomes available and immediate applause at the very first trade?
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
The Hen's going to hit big on that one in the early part of this. And, you know, the difference here in these compositions to really highlight is that if T1 cannot find a lead in the mid game, as they are so famous for doing, the Rise will never be able to do the same amount of damage as the Victor will in the late game, and you will lose wars of attrition against this Ezreal that has more consistent damage output than a Caitlyn, who's in an even game will be able to perform with. And then you're stuck trying to make plays with this Lux, who's fairly fragile as well.
Okay, fighting over level 2, the flash forward as Keiria's going for it with the Q of his own. That's going to be a trade. His first blood is given over to the Ezreal. Gumayusi able to trade one back as our supports, they were ready to fight.
FAKER, they don't know where he is, and he might get caught off guard here as he goes to ward.
Well, that's not the brush you wanted to check here, as FAKER just going to die. Had no vision there. They had a ward in the jungle, but they did not know where Peanut was.
All right, Gen.G are starting off high speed in this best of 5 here, and this is a tragedy for T1's composition. You start trading like this, you start giving a Victor gold this early, and it is a disaster. No, first blood going over to Ruler here.
Doing that here.
But this is such an early trade because it allows them to reset for the Rift Herald fight as well. And this is the power of Chovy getting that first blood. Normally, you know, a lot of matchups, Rise just dominates. The Victor one can be a little bit more volatile, but you get an early kill like that, you're the one pushing in the Rise. They find Owner early, deny him the ability to shut this streak down, and Gen.G have such masterful control of this game. And yes, T1, with the power farming you mentioned, catch up in gold, now take a gold lead, as they're so famous for, but their composition needs to have a bigger lead than this 10 minutes from now, and Gen.G are already smooth sailing.
And Owner's anyone. But either way, as Keiria's going to flash in for the poke, and the trap not quite enough to land onto Lahen's there, and he will get out of there alive as a huge True Shot barrage hits both of them.
I really appreciate the idea right before Herald here, but unfortunately not going to work out for Keria. Both summoners down now, unfortunately, for this critical fight, and it's not even really a trade up here in any way, and Ruler wasn't even there to actually punish. Like, it was a good idea because of Ruler's positioning, but doesn't end up working out here. Now down Flash before what is going to be, and has been historically, T1's most important objective.
T1 being on relative item parity. Goal, dead even.
This is really tough. They have 2 global ultimates to use to close the gap here. No flash for Keria, no mid prio.
Yeah, they already have this pretty low as we stand, and they're going up against an Ornn. Let's see if T1 can do anything, as the Ornn will come through, as a big knock-up now from Doran on the top side, but you can see the rest of Gen.G just going to leave Doran to die. They say, nope, we're not going to be able to help you here. And so Gen.G do get the kill on the Rift Herald, but they cannot pick up the eye, and T1 take the fight.
But it looks like instead they're going to choose to give this one up, and I can see the logic behind it.
Not enough cryo.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they also instead get more control on the top side of the map. I don't know if that's a great trade, especially with Infernal Rift on the map.
Yeah, and it's top side for a Rift Herald that spawns in 2 minutes, and its second Rift Herald plates are going to be gone. Not that critical. Root connects.
Yep. No follow-up on that one. Guma not quite close enough. And yeah, definitely a choice that T1 decided to make, you know? As instead, they are going to try to highlight this top side as here comes the paranoia. It's 3-on-1, and Doran does not have any hope as FAKER will eat a lot of those turret shots, as will Owner, but the kill is still there.
On the ultimate, and Peanut, he gets to play.
Yeah, Hectic Ultimatum is available now, and Peanut, yeah, you're not going to be able to ult out of this one. Don't believe that Karma will help either against this much lockdown. We just saw these three in the top side, and they do it again to the Bear.
Lots of greed here from Peanut, grabs a plate, but will give over a lot more gold to T1, really keeping them in a lead in terms of that gold advantage right now, because 4 kills to 2 and a 900 gold lead, yeah, it looks great.
Definitely a little bit of a mistake as we return here to the game.
Interestingly, even with champions that generally have extremely high priority, the Lux and the Karma, or the Lux and the Cade rather, the Rise, and the Camille, no plates were actually picked up by T1, and that's not something that happens, and it does tie into the overall laning strength, which is the one thing where I think Gen.G has just been almost unmatched in the entirety of the LCK. It's more about what happens as soon as these turrets start to fall. When the map starts to open up, that's where I get more worried.
Who's diving who now? As Zeus went a bit far, thinking he had Owner on the backup of the gank as Flash comes in, and Chovy will take down the Camille.
Bloody game here in game number 1 of this series as T1 are going to try to damage this mid turret, but won't be able to get any permanent damage. I say that. It's a cannon wave.
That's going to be first turret blood over to the side of Ruler, solo down in the bottom side. So at the end of the day, Gen.G going to take a gold lead and enjoy this very much. Yeah, leading the charge on this, and FAKER just now teleporting. Note the flank coming in from the side of T1. They've got a Camille and a Rise behind him.
And has to be so careful, they're grouping up to check.
Okay, they see Zeus and they're looking for the turn to flash in onto FAKER, and he will be rooted down and taken down as well. But T1 say that's okay, we'll take the Drake. Zeus though also going to be taken down here, so Gen.G pick up a couple of kills, but T1 do get the Drake.
This is to do once the fight actually starts for T1, and it's on even footing.
Yeah,
it looks way harder.
This is a question we had for T1 when they faced Gen.G at full strength for the first time. Maybe, you know, we were speculating, many were, would this be the first time T1 has a real disadvantage in a series like this season? In a real high-profile series, not just the best of 3 when they're going for the perfect record, but in the finals, right? And in this game, they're only 300 gold behind, but the composition is screaming massive advantages here for Gen.G. And T1, they needed to have a bigger lead. They needed to be able to hit Gen.G when they are brittle. But as you mentioned, the death ball is coming strong.
Oh, the root comes in, and in fact, Doran will not be able to respond to that, lasting a little bit longer than he thought. That was an Ezreal with the red buff and flash. So if FAKER overstood his welcome, he would have been dead.
Would have been able to hit him. And the one thing for T1 that is important to still keep in mind is that this comp punishes overextension.
Here we go. This is the side lane play that we expect, and stopwatch is good, but it ain't that good. That's going to be the kill given over to Gumayusi.
As I finish my sentence, T1's comp is still incredibly good at punishing mispositions from anyone. Between Zeus, Owner, and FAKER, if someone is pushing in a side lane, even just a little bit too far up, as we see here, you can immediately get taken down. The kill goes over to Guma as well, and Guma being fed is so much more safe, brings so much more longevity than the rest of T1, because barring Zeus, Owner, and FAKER at this point getting kills doesn't really provide you with that much. But Guma remaining fed means that no matter what, if he can survive in late game team fights, he can still carry.
Yeah, it has to be him, right? And this is why I wondered, you know, in the draft, would we maybe see Crown of the Shattered Queen on Chovy? Because it might not...
I think T1 are going to show a lot more of that, you know, regardless of the current state of the game or the compositions. They will be looking for plays, and they might just get Peanut here, as he will have to ult away just to survive. And with the Drake coming up here in a minute, will he have that ready? I'm not so sure, as now T1 have position around this river.
Whoever wins this has a really good position from here on out.
Oh, the flash, but that is going to be Ruler with the quick cleanse, as he does have to use that though before this goes off. And now Carrier with no flash for his own engages. Gen.G stalwart here in the river, trying to put up a wall and avoid it. Zeus goes over the wall, just leading the charge, ready to fight.
Stroke point control, but Chovy wasn't here, so he can't actually get that death ray damage through. T1 will actually spill into the other side. Now they've got to be wary of the Zeus flank once again.
All right, setting up another kind of wall here. We got traps coming out from Gumayusi, and you do not want to get headshot by this Caitlyn right now. As Zeus over the wall, they're looking for Toby. He doesn't have his stopwatch anymore, but the damage from the backside of Gen.G is gigantic. They're able to take down both of the divers on the side of T1, but that is going to be the Dragon going the way of T1. So a crazy fight, but T1 get another Infernal.
Well played from Gen.G. That Doran zoning off the entire back half of T1 as the divers go in. There's no follow-up, but the Drake still goes to T1, so now Gen.G, they need to push for this Baron.
Yeah, they're going to push for it as fast as they can. They've got a ton of damage here. And, you know, with T1 having this ward here, it's so valuable. They know exactly where to run. Realm Warp is available for Faker. We've seen those in some LCK finals recently.
Oh boy. Here
we go. Are they going to contest? I think they have to.
Are they just going to Realm Warp into this one? I don't know.
That's
We've seen that before too, as okay, they're going to go on the backside here. They want to take a fight. As immediately a headshot from Guma. That's going to be one kill. Gen.G get the Baron, but they get nothing else. As T1 are on the chase, Faker leading the charge. He's going to get that bounce onto both of them, and at least Toby will go down, as they are looking for more. A triple kill now for Guma, and that is going to be the ace into the hands of T1.
Gen.G, this first game, have been both extremely proactive, but also greedy in the objective takes like this. You know, we've seen so many times Peanut getting caught when he grabbed that first plate, dies immediately afterwards, clearing vision around the Drake, gets picked a second time. And in these fights here, where you're trying to rush down Drake, you have to be wary of T1's ability to turn on a dime using this Realm Warp. And if you don't have that ward removed, if you don't have vision control, maybe your best option is to back away, because T1 will come over here and punish. Now 4,000 gold to lead. You're not coming in here. You're not contesting vision. You are not going to have cryo. They denied any sort of idea.
That is
They're running.
Incredibly fast bear. I don't know what that guy's on, but Zeus is not getting away, as, okay, he's trading back, actually. Trying to get the kill onto Lahan, sent a flash, but not quite enough.
And T1 start the Drake fast enough now that this pick actually is committed to, because Gen.G are on the wrong side of the map here. Drake spawns right now, and they've got fast track to it. Gen.G need to sprint over here.
That teleport's available. Two of them, but
okay,
coming down.
They are going for
Faker
this.
Joining. I don't think they can get here.
Yeah, they're not going to get here on time, but Peanut's here on time. Peanut, can he steal it? No, he cannot, but he does have a stopwatch trying to turn this one around. Keria takes so much of the aggro here. The Chaos Storm, the Ornhorn, and he's still alive. There's the one Guardian Angel going down. And Guma, he's still alive. Look at how much damage he does at this point in time. The chunking is unbelievable. That's going to be the end of Ruler and the end of Gen.G on this fight.
See the space bought by those Guardian Angels. Zeus, he was just the bait, and he actually was. The entirety of T1 is ready. 3 Infernal Drakes, but I don't think we're going to see the soul in this one.
I don't think so. T1 are marching down the red carpet to victory here. Nods on the side of the T1 players as they call the push to end. T1 so decisive on the punish plays this game. You give them an inch, they will take a mile. They were so far behind in the early part of the mid-game, but they turned this one around so fast.
Unbelievable. T1 just like that. Doesn't matter what the game state is, as Zeus decides, hey, here's a kill. But we will get the kill on Fear Nexus and take game number 1 here at the finals.
And it's Faker put on the rise, his most iconic champion in the mid lane. Yes, he gets killed early by Toby. Cryo's against him, pushing to him, but his decisions and his team's communication